Here I have a 1773 1 real from Spain. Here is a 1909 Philippine 1 peso. I have some Spanish pesetas, which are some of my favorite coins ever. The Philippines, or officially the Republic of the Philippines, is an island country in Southeast Asia, an archipelago consisting of more than 7,000 islands, lying about 500 miles off the coast of Vietnam. The Philippines takes its name from Philip II, who was the King of Spain during the Spanish colonization of the islands in the 16th century. Because of his under Spanish rule for more than 300 years and under U.S. tutelage for another further 48 years, the Philippines has many cultural affinities with the West. It is, for an example, the second most populous Asian country, following India, with English as its official language, and one of the only two predominantly Roman Catholic countries in Asia. Despite the predominance of such Anglo-European culture characteristics, the people of the Philippines are Asian in consciousness and aspiration. Long before the Spaniards came to the Philippines in 1520, the Filipinos established trade relations with neighboring countries like China, Java, Borneo, Thailand, and other settlements. Early on, the Philippines bartered, but the inconvenience of the barter system led to the adoption of specific medium trade, cowrie shells. The Philippines is naturally rich in gold, making it possible for the availability of local gold coinage called a palancitos. The original silver currency unit was the rupee or rupiah, locally known as salapi, brought over in trade from India and Indonesia. The salapi continued under Spanish rule as a teston, worth 4 reals, or half a Spanish peso. The Spanish silver peso, worth 8 real, was first introduced by the Magellan expedition in 1521, brought over in large quantities in 1565, after the conquest of the Philippines. The local salapi continued under Spanish rule as half a peso coin. Here I have a 1773 1 real from Spain. It was minted at 0.917 silver and had a portrait of King Charles III. And it had the Spanish columns on the back. Other coins were the 4 real, the 8 real, the 2 real. And these were also minted at the time in 0.917 silver. And there would have been some of the Mexican real and some silver from other Latin American countries. And here are some later Spanish coins that would have been traded in the Philippines, like the 1870 Spanish 5 centimos and the 1877 5 centimos with Alfonso XII on it. And here I have some Spanish pesetas, which are some of my favorite coins ever. This is the 1891 1 peseta with the infant Alfonso XIII on it. These were 0.835 silver. A 1900 Spanish 50 cents with Alfonso XIII. This is the third portrait. They made 6 portraits. He was an infant in the first portrait. He was a toddler in the second portrait. He was a child in the third portrait. He was a teen, exactly 16 when he started his rule in the fourth portrait. In the fifth and sixth portrait was an adult. Another 1900, this is a 1 peseta. And here's a 1901 1 peseta. In 1898, as a result of the Spanish-American War, the Philippines became an American territory. And in 1903, the U.S. passed the Philippine Coinage Act. Here is a 1909 Philippine 1 peso, minted at the San Francisco Mint in 90% silver, with a actual silver weight of 0.5144 ounce silver. Very close to the Morgan dollar at the time. The Morgan dollar is 17734 ASW. Well, the US pegged the peso to 2 pesos per dollar. So if you were to exchange, say, a silver certificate and get 2 pesos instead of 1 Morgan dollar, you would have actually got more silver. You would have gotten close to 1.3 ounces of silver instead of 0.77. And that's something interesting to think about. And here is a 1944 Philippines 20 centavos. These are minted in 0.75 silver. This is a 1944 1 centavo. You can see at this time it still said United States of America with the eagle on the top. By this time, the Philippines were preparing to become their own country. The Philippines became their own country in 1946. And this is a 1964 25 centavo. And you see, it no longer says United States of America. It says the Central Bank of the Philippines. Here is a 1964. From 1942 to 1945, in the middle of the hell of World II, Japan viciously occupied the Philippines with oppression so dark it was difficult to find photos that YouTube would allow. During the occupation, Japan printed their own paper fiat peso bills that the locals called Mickey Mouse money. Douglas MacArthur advised the Philippine government how to defeat the Japanese and helped Philippines gain independence in 1946. So in 1946, MacArthur was put on the 1 peso and the 50 centavo coins, a coin that is one of my all-time favorite Holy Grail coins to purchase one day. You can find them on eBay for around $60. A couple of other coins from the Philippines in my Holy Grail wish list is the 1897 1 peso with the child portrait of Alfonso XIII on it. These go from around $100 and up on eBay. And also the gold Isabella peso, which the Filipinos had a derogatory term for, describing the Queen Isabella II as a female dog, if you get my drift. These coins can go upwards to $600. Although the United States occupation in the Philippines wasn't the best, in my opinion it was the lesser of the evils. The history of the Philippines is one of the most important stories in recent history, and that's why I think the Philippines coinage is very attractive to collectors. I hope that you all learned something from this video. Thank you for your time and keep the art of collecting alive. Thanks and goodbye.